Obviously, you're in the Netherlands right now, and you're, I think, also going to Germany.
Yeah.
Um, so, what is it like after all that, all those months of kind of being stuck at home, not really the uncertainty of it all, and now being able to kind of get back to somewhat of a normalcy for you?
Yeah, it's amazing. Honestly, like we were working really hard to try and make this trip happen because something I really wanted to do. And yeah, just really excited to be in a different city feels really weird again. Like everything feels like you're seeing it for the first time. Being on a plane's weird. But yeah, it's super exciting. And yeah, it was weird. I loved actually being at home for a few months. It was really nice, but I'm glad to be back at it as well.
What did you do for the time? Because I saw you played a lot of FIFA, but
I played a lot of FIFA. Yeah, I did that. I planted trees with my dad. I in the UK there was a big craze. Everybody was running 5 kilometers. So I found out how to cheat that up, so it looked like I was breaking world records running, which was good. And yeah, I wrote loads of songs, learned how to produce some stuff, and barbecues. That was pretty much it. Yeah.
In that sense, was it because I don't know how the last couple of years have been for you. Probably quite different than the years before. So was it in a sense a welcome break for a couple of months?
Yeah, no, it really was. I freaked out for like the first 2 weeks, and then once I relaxed into it, it was like amazing. I loved it. Even being kind of back at my parents' house in Ireland in the countryside, with fields and mountains, it was so good. I loved it.
And I can imagine, because that's obviously where you kind of started writing and started creating music. So being back there and then, like you say, writing again, what did come out of it?
Yeah, loads of stuff came out of it. I wrote some songs for other people. I wrote a lot of songs for myself. So I've now just got this, like, when we're ready to do an album, the pool for the songs that I can put on that are just getting bigger and bigger, which is exciting. And yeah, it kind of felt weird because it felt like I'd come around full circle after like 5 years after leaving home. I was kind of back, and I'm like, did any of that happen? I don't know. Did I just it was kind of weird, but
just a big dream.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
What was it like then? Because I can imagine being in the situation that we are, that your mind kind of goes that direction a little bit. So did you kind of make an effort not to write those kind of songs in a way?
Yeah, I really did. I tried to think of what haven't I written and what do I want to say, and I did some stupid coronavirus songs like everybody had to, right. And then I wrote some of my favorite stuff ever, and I was able to kind of, for the first time, was doing it myself, like on my laptop, and like actually recording it myself and producing it myself, and that was new and really exciting. And yeah, there's a lot of really interesting stuff's come out of it, to the point where I think we're gonna, at the end of the year, try something a bit experimental, with maybe releasing 2 different types of songs or collections of songs that are kind of pulls apart, because I wrote a lot of weird kind of folky stuff at home as well. But we don't know. We're just experimenting with stuff in a minute, so we'll see.
As a songwriter then, because since you now had to produce yourself in a way, what was like, could you objectively listen to yourself in a way?
Yeah, I think I could. And I think I was using other people's sounding boards a lot as well. And I was sending 2 or 3 songs a day sometimes, my record label and management and friends and everything. And I was working with friends of mine on Zoom and just doing loads of stuff and just working at everything until a few of them stuck. But I mean, I think I wrote, over 50 songs, and maybe we're looking at like 6 to 10 of them to use. There's a lot of stuff that I finished, but just kind of wasn't good enough as the rest, which happens, but that's kind of part of the process.
What is your selection criteria then? What makes a good song for you, or a worthwhile song for you?
It has to, well, first of all, it has to really mean something to me. It has to connect. And that's a really basic songwriter thing to say, but you can tell very quickly when you've written a song because you think it's catchy or you think it's quite cool, than when you actually mean a song. And then obviously I do rely on other people a lot as well, to be like, if I send a song and the reaction's crazy, then that will definitely make me like a song more. Whereas if I send a song, even if I kind of love it, but nobody really is coming back or thinking much about it, then you're going to forget about it in a few days, and it's kind of, that's the way it happens. And there's a few that I'm definitely pushing on as well, that I'm like, these are my songs, or these are coming out some way, which is why we might do something else, but I got to trust other people as well.
And you mentioned kind of more folky songs, and now obviously you've been inspired by singer-songwriters and people like Bob Dylan and stuff. So in this time of absence where you just had to focus on yourself, what kind of musical influences came out, and what kind of
I was learning a lot. I think I was listening to a lot of Tom Waits and the way he writes lyrics, and even Bob Dylan. It sounds really stupid, but I've never really dug that deep into Bob Dylan, even though it's something I should, and Jeff Buckley as well. And it's always, that world is something I definitely delved into a lot. And then even I was looking back at like My Chemical Romance randomly, and I was like, some of the songwriting there is unbelievable.
Sure.
And Elvis as well. Elvis is amazing in terms of just the stuff that he was able to produce, and even then I was looking at his outfits and his videos, how he got his music to transcend to that level and connect with people that much. And it was just so much stuff like that I actually had the time to learn and to look at things that I always wanted to but never had the time to do. So it was great. And
then now, since it's all still very uncertain, where do you hope this will go? Because, well, like I said, you're now in Amsterdam. You get to go to Germany. How do you see the future in a way? Are you optimistic?
Yeah, I'm optimistic. I mean, I'm hopeful for next summer for festivals. For playing live again we've been playing live today at just radio stations, and it's been interesting just how much fun we've had and how much we've missed it, and everybody missed it. But actually, I think a lot of the fun was taken out of music for a while there, and a lot of people are still in that. Like, playing live is that's the release, and that's where you work towards. And if there's nothing to work towards like that, it's tough. And even now, my song's doing pretty well on the radio here and in a few other countries, and it was very strange to kind of watch that happen for the first time ever for any of my songs when I was sitting in my parents' house, not really able to do anything and not go to play the shows or see the people. It just kind of feels very disconnected. So it's so good to be back and doing that. And yeah, I don't know what the future's going to hold, but I'm just going to keep releasing and keep flying on, and we'll see.
And then now you've released a couple of songs, and well, you just said songs need to be able. You need to be able to connect to songs, and now they kind of deal with a breakup and then some not so fun times. What do you think of when you think of those? The two songs that are out now. Well, what do you think of? Is that a specific moment in your life? Is there a mood or?
Yeah, no, I think those are definitely about a very specific time and a person that I wrote about, and I think I'm probably done writing about that bit now. And there's other stuff that's happening in my life that I live in London, and that's confusing sometimes, being an Irish guy. And I've got a girlfriend now, and like life's happening really fast and also slowing down. And there's just so much stuff to write about that I feel like there's a few more breakup songs that I've written that are still going to come out. It's got to be done, and I will always probably still write them. But I think in terms of, I'm just trying very consciously to delve into some other stuff because I think there's a lot more to say.
Well, I do want to get into it a little bit, if you don't mind. So, because what I find very interesting about, for instance, a song like "I Need You to Hate Me" is that idea of silence in a relationship, which can be very scary. So, what was it? How does that kind of, when you go through that, how does that end up being a song?
That one was weird. I had it in my head for ages. Like, as in, I had the "I need you to hate me" part, but I didn't know what it meant for ages. I just had that line. I remember I was saying, it's like sometimes you write a song that just seems cool or catchy, but it don't mean something. So I really was consciously, I think it sat in my head for like four or 5 months before I wrote it. And then I just was like thinking about it, and I was like, I actually know exactly what this is about, and it's about this thing a couple of years ago, and it all happened once I figured out what it was and what the song wanted to be. It was like written in like 20 minutes. It was really fast. All the lyrics happened in one go. I never changed them. It was like but it took 4 or 5 months to get to that point as well. So. Yeah,
that's an interesting point, because as a songwriter, obviously you've been doing it for a while. Do you feel that you get the art or the craft of songwriting, that you're improving in that sense?
I think I'm definitely improving, but I'm also think I'm getting a lot further away, which I think I think every songwriter does that as well. It's like, but I don't know what I'm getting further away from, and whether it's like, it's tough being a pop songwriter in terms of, you want to write this song that's, people really mean something, but you also want it to be on the radio, so there is a weird balance to have there. And, I'm probably not going to be the artist who is getting, critically acclaimed 5-star reviews on NME right off the bat, as much as I'd love to be, but I think that's going to something I'm going to have to prove myself on, and I'm going to have to work at getting all that stuff. But yeah, I'm just learning still about myself and what I want to write and what I want to say and how I want to be presented and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, as I said, I'm learning a lot. I think I'm getting further away. I just don't know what from. And I think that's part of the beauty of it. You know what I mean? I'm just figuring it all out.
No, I agree, because I think, and maybe I think it's kind of diminishing a little bit now, but I might be wrong. But the pop used to be such a bad word in a way, and now all these genres and styles are kind of intertwining. So I think there's a lot more freedom, so to say, for songwriters to explore areas. Would you agree?
100%. Yeah, I think pop music. Yeah, it used to be this cheesy boy bandy thing, and I think obviously there's still that. But for me, pop music, when I say I'm writing a pop song, I'm just writing a song that I'd want to sing, that would make me feel something, that at a gig that I'd want to go off to, you know. And if that's a pop song, then that's just how I write. It's how I've always written since I was 15. And back in Northern Ireland, I was always called like the pop kid, you know. That's just what I did, and I don't know why. It's just was the way I've always done it. So it's like, yeah, it is what it is, and I'm like. Yeah, it's one of those things I'll never make apologies for it, because I don't think pop music is a bad thing. In fact, I wouldn't be doing it. I love it. I think it's the best. That's why I do it. You know. It's like,
and then what I find interesting and funny then, which kind of shows your less serious side in a way, is that I think your sister calls you a professional sad boy.
Yeah.
So and kind of, I've talked to you before, and kind of having that sense of humor or levity in what you do. How important is that, and how do you maintain that in a way?
I think it's very important, because it's kind of who I am. You know, I think people who don't know me as a person, they just know my songs, think I'm probably the most depressing guy ever. But then people who know me as a person, I haven't heard my songs before, and then listen to them, are always quite shocked. They're like, that's pretty depressing. I'm like, yeah, I don't know why. It's just like, that's just what happens. That's how it's my therapy, as every musician says it. But that's just like, when I write, if I want to do something real, that's the place it comes from. And yeah, she just said I was being sad to make money off it. And I was like, hey, it's what it is, you know?
If it works, it works, right?
That.
With getting into the other song, Lying That You Love Me, what I always find interesting about these songs and these concepts is, and this is more maybe philosophical in nature, but why do you think are we attracted to situations that aren't good for us?
Safety. I think, as much as it seems like a bad thing, it's something, especially in the past, everybody sugarcoats stuff. And everybody thinks that it was better than it was. And even if you're like, it actually wasn't good, you still knew what it was. And you know the ending. Whereas the future and the present is a lot more scary than actually don't know the ending. And I think it's a lot of that, of just, that everyone kind of craves being a kid again sometimes, and going back and just having that bubble of a safety net. And I think that's what memories are, essentially. And that's why we crave them so much, I think.
No, I think that's a really good explanation, actually. But when you have a concept like that, or this idea of a song like that, of a situation, how do you then, I don't know the order of the way you work, but how does the music kind of match then that feeling, or how does the music convey that feeling that you want? Or how do you try to use
I don't know. It just sometimes it doesn't. Like, I Need You to Hate Me is quite like this dramatic song, and like big and poppy and drummy, but actually if you strip it all back and do a piano version of it, it is another piano ballad, if you want to make it that way. So I think it's just whatever way you choose to present it, and you can make it a few different things, and it doesn't always have to match. I actually love it when it doesn't match a lot of the times. I think it's way cooler to have like if you actually read into it, being like, oh man, that's darker than I thought it was. So
I think reggae is really good at that. Reggae is very substantive music, but it sounds so peaceful and happy.
Exactly. I was like, oh, it's nice. Then you read the lyrics, you're like, oh.
Exactly. Yeah. But so is this some kind of with what you mentioned, bringing out perhaps some songs in a different manner, because you have these different types of expression that you this may suit a more folky style, this may suit a more full band?
I think so. It's just like when I was over lockdown, I just was writing, and I wasn't writing for it. I had nothing to write for. In my head, it was kind of like I Need You to Hate Me come out. It was coming out like 2 months after that, so that was done. And the album's we're not ready to make that just yet. So I was just writing for the sake of writing, and I was writing for me and for other people, and I was like, I wonder if Justin Bieber made a song, what would his new album sound like? And like, I didn't know, and that's what I was doing. I've got loads of songs by doing that sort of thing. And yeah, there was this sort of folky stuff that's come out has just been from me listening to loads of Tom Waits, I think, and seeing how he crafts lyrics and just says what he wants to say. And it sounds poetic because he's good at talking, but it's actually not. It's just him It's just him saying what he would say in a song, and I think that's I think that's the dream. If you can get a lyric that is everybody could say in a conversation, but also it's, deep and dark and poetic and all that stuff. That's the dream. It's very hard to find, but
yeah. Fair enough. Well, do you do a lot of reading and stuff then? Because I've always found that I'm Irish. My grandmother was Irish. And I've always found, so I know a little bit about the culture, and I've always found that there was a tendency towards language in Irish culture. The way language is used is very poetic, and there's hundreds of great Irish poets and stuff.
Absolutely, I grew up in an area where like Seamus Heaney's from 5 minutes from where I'm from, and you've got Yeats and you've got Thomas Moore, someone I actually use a lot in my songs.
Okay.
So Dermot Kennedy actually told me that he had this book of poetry and there was loads of stuff in it that was just amazing. I'm like, all right, and it's like from the 1800s, but this guy's poetry is just unbelievable, and it's like you can see it's still not, like you could literally take some of them and make them into songs now and they would completely work. You wouldn't have to change words. Like, they're amazing. And I think there's loads of that. And I read as much as I can. I'd like to read more. I read a lot of like factual stuff, which doesn't really help with my songwriting, but it's just another side of my brain. They're like I do like a lot of politics and sort of all that stuff. I like reading too. So, but I think it's listening to other people like Waits and like Yeats and like reading poetry when I need to, but not all the time. I just do it before I write. Sometimes I'll just have a scroll and just see what I can find and do it that way.
All right. Final question then. Obviously, we've mentioned the uncertainty. What would be the best case scenario for you in a sense? Because you mentioned the album and has kind of everything that's happened, I'm sure has thrown a wrench in kind of some of the plans that you had and then some of the things you wanted to do. So,
well, I think it's given me an opportunity. I honestly do. I think it's like, we had a tour planned and stuff and it was selling well and all that stuff, but because it didn't happen, I've still never toured. I am free touring as an artist. And so we've had to be creative and we've had to think of other ways to get this project off the ground a bit more, and to like the fact that we're now on the radio here and it's top 10 the radio charts here in other countries and out in the UK without doing any of the normal stuff. We're doing it like a different way, and I think that's really exciting as well. So I think it's given me an opportunity as an artist in the UK especially to kind of stand up a bit more and stand out a bit more, because I just kept going and kept working and kept doing stuff, and a lot of people didn't and sort of stood still a bit. And not that you're competing, but like as a new artist, you do have to compete a little bit for space to be heard. So I think it's given us the opportunity for that. But ideal scenario is album out next year, is our couple of proper actual hits, and hit the festivals next summer, touring, and take it from there. It's a slower plan than we thought it was going to be, but everybody's been paused for a year, so I'm pretty happy with how we're going, to be honest.
Sounds excellent. JC, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, bro.
All right, enjoy your trip.
Thank you very much. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.